Be up there. I had to make a couple of changes. I found some typos. I'll fix that fairly quickly, but it's going to be on our download page, all right? And it's going to be up there for several months, all right? So what do we need? Literally, if you're going to do astrophotography, you need something. You need a camera to take an image or videos. You need a camera mount. That should be either a tripod, if you're not moving around, or you need a sky tracker for just mounting a telescope. It should be a camera to mount, or you need an actual telescope mount. A computer with software to record the image is also needed, and you need a lot of patience. It takes a lot of time to do it, and to make it look good, it takes even more time. One of my suggestions is that we often leave the photograph as a digital image. Try printing your image. Actually print the image sometime and see how it looks. And then keep a journal, as I mentioned before. Write down your results. Any camera will work. Any camera will work for recording still images, doing video recordings. You may record the still with digital cameras. You may use one of the astronomy CMOS cameras or CCD cameras. You can use an infrared camera, heat detecting cameras, spectroscopic cameras, cell phone cameras. Okay. For video recordings, you again may use the astronomy CMOS or CCD. A computer webcam actually works pretty well. That's what we actually start a lot of these with. Cell phone cameras and many of the digital cameras will let you record videos also. For still images, the still images can be stacked and enhanced so you can get a better image. Literally, you take all your images, stack them up, discard the ones you don't like, and produce one image from the results. It looks very nice at the end. JPEG files are altered by the camera. The files are reduced in size. So for instance, if you've got a 10 megapixel camera, your JPEG image is going to be about 2.5, maybe 3 megapixels. So you're missing a lot of information. Best to take the photograph as an actual raw image, raw file. So you have to learn how to use the raw files. It takes a little bit of time, but say if it's a raw file, work with the raw file with your programs, you're going to find it's going to be a better result for you. For video recordings, the videos again can be enhanced, or frames can be removed, and the best video portions stacked together, and then those can be used to produce a great image or a great video for what you're seeing. Okay. For film cameras, I'm going to start out on the low end here, because we like to. Okay. We're talking about ASA numbers, and this is the same as ISO for everyone else. If you remember ASA film cameras, when the 400 film came out, they were great to take nighttime shots without having a flash. Okay. And you can still use an actual film camera if you wish, ASA 400 to 1600 if you can find that. For the long exposures, though, you use a low ASA film. You can use something that's 50 to 200. You take a very long exposure. Digital cameras use the ISO, which is, again, the International Standards Organization. That's the ISO. Instead of the ASA, which is the American Standards Association. But the speeds are literally the same. Okay. Low ASA produces a better image, but take a longer time to expose the film. High ASA produces an image quickly, but there is more graining in the film. You lose a lot of the detail. You see that problem with high ISO numbers, of course, with that. So if it's possible, you want to use as low an ISO number or ASA number as you can. And I'd like to thank the people at AL. In their last article, they had a very nice item in there, too, on shooting the moon. And their suggestion was, again, we'll go over this, shoot in manual mode, keep the ISO number as low as you can, 100. Okay, take a nice long exposure with that, and that's exactly what I did in January for Vermont. So it's really nice to see this come out in an article just last month. Traditional methods for hyper-enhancing film and cooling the film is out of date. Unfortunately, Kodak stopped making the ASA film some time ago, and enhanced film digital methods have vastly been improved on the digital side. For still images, without moving the camera, literally you have a tripod, you put the camera up, you point it at the sky, and you have a nice long exposure. Okay? You put the camera into what's bulb mode, you push down on the button, and you just leave it open as long as you want. Eventually you shut it off at the right time. see, moving an object, you must guide the camera. So that means you have to have a tripod of some sort. One of Rusty's photographs of the moon here. When you take your photographs using a traditional camera, you put the camera into manual mode. Don't use automatic. Don't use the program function. Don't use the speed function. Don't use the AV function. Don't use those. Just work on manual mode only. Unless you know specific use of those other functions, you can try them. And if you're using an actual camera lens instead of a telescope to take your image, there is a little bit of a problem, because if you, for instance, reduce the shutter, let's say it's like an f2.8 camera, and you take it down to like f8, then you get the spiking that you see on stars. This is an image of Sirius, and it's quite a bit of spiking, but you'll still see it on all your stars. So what you want to do is make sure that the shutter is all the way open. Okay. So if it's an f2.8 camera, you move it all the way up to f2.8, and you don't try the other speeds. Now there are some problems with that too. You may lose some details, and you may have to stop it down. So there's another way to do that. Now, when I get a few minutes, we'll actually go over the hardware. I'll show you the hardware quickly. This is how you do it. If you need a smaller aperture on the camera, instead of shuttering it down that way, you just do something like this. You literally put a piece of cardboard or something in the front of it with exactly the right size hole that you want, and that's your shutter reduction. And this is exactly what Galileo did with his first telescope. If you look at it, it's shuttered too at the front. There's actually a piece of boarding at the front with a smaller hole. Okay? He has a larger lens, but the hole is like that, and it reduces it and increases sharpness for that telescope. And it's the same thing you do with camera lenses. Okay? And by doing this, and actually what I'm using are Koken filters, and you can buy these pre-size filters, as we have there on the right side, to get about the right size shutter that you want, or the right side open. Again, I'm going to pop over with this too. And there's the aperture of the camera. Quite literally here, we look here, I've got 6 in a row there. The first one is f2, next is 2.8, then we've got f4, f5.6, f8, and then f11. A low aperture, in other words, as wide as you can get it, okay? It allows a lot more light to enter into the camera quickly. And you can see actually we've got all those nice little blue dots that shows you approximately how much light enters. But it takes a long, let's see, the focus area is very small, and sometimes there are some difficulties in focus, so you may have to go to a higher aperture to get things to work. Higher apertures, it takes a lot longer for the light to enter in, but the focus area is greater, so you may get some greater details. So for instance, if you have a low aperture, your shot might take 2 or 3 seconds, but a high aperture, it might take 15 seconds, a minute, 3 minutes to get the shot that you want. For focus methods, and again, this is an introductory class. I'm sorry, we're going to start. We're at the bottom, we're working our way up here. Turn off that autofocus. No autofocus whatsoever. Don't use it. Turn whatever camera lens you're using to manual focus only, okay? And then get it to where you want to. And then for the focus method, which is a traditional method, you literally take the, if you're focusing off the telescope, or if you're focusing on the camera lens, doesn't matter. You find the object, you go close to focus, but not quite. You go into focus, you go past it, out of focus again, and then you reverse, come back, and go back to the focus. And they do that literally 2 or 3 times, and I get exactly the focus I want. So I'll see an object that's a dot to start with, and start to expand out to the circle, go back to the dot, and then back out. And eventually I get exactly where I want to focus that way. That's one method. Another method is to use a back-off focus mask. Nice little thing. It goes on the front of the camera. You put it on, you take a couple of photographs. As you can see, the middle one shows us in focus, the one on the right shows us out of focus. Okay? So when I'm in focus, we've got that nice little pattern there, and when I'm out of focus, I'm over there. And you don't have to buy the back-off mask, although they are inexpensive. But you can actually make your own. Rusty's made a few. They're kind of nice to have. Now for the exposure time, you decrease your exposure time just to see what you get. So it's going to take a little patience to figure this out for whatever object you're looking at. Faint objects, you're going to need 30 seconds to 60 minutes of time to expose it. So anywhere from 30 seconds to 60 minutes, very phenomenal. Brighter ones, it's not going to take quite so long. For long exposures, you just use your watch, put the thing into hold mode, you look at your watch and say, okay, it's been 5 minutes, and now turn it off. And again, as I said before, always use a RAW format and don't use JPEG format for your images. If you want the best results afterwards, you use the RAW format instead of the JPEG. You also include a dark frame in your photograph. Literally, that's the lens cap right on the front. You take an image that way. It's black, yes, but that black image will show you any hot spots on your camera sensor. And then those items can then be removed from your last photograph. So your hot spots are taken out, and you've got a better image as a result. Again, that dark frame photograph is a good thing. Then there's some old-fashioned methods too for doing these things. There's the old sunny day for daytime use, which is the familiar one for people who actually know photography. And then there's something called Looney 11, which is the same thing for shooting the moon. And again, let's go back to this here. ISO settings. Typical ISO settings for most of the digital cameras out there, they'll start at 50, which you get a lot of detail, but it's going to take you a lot longer for the photograph to develop. In other words, the exposure time is much longer at 50. But you go to higher ones like 800, 1200, 1600, 2400 or higher. Okay? There are a few that go to 1002 for the ISO, which is an awfully high speed. Those are rare cameras, but there are a few who do it. And again, it's lower ISO, will give you more detail and less digital noise, but the exposure time is longer. Okay? A high ISO will get the image with short exposure time, but with more digital noise. That photograph